teacher.
Yes, you're welcome, Andy. Thank you too. All right, so Andy, where are you from?
I come from Shenzhen in Guangdong province in China.
Oh, I see. What a beautiful country. So, Andy, I came from the Philippines. Have you been here before?
Yes, I've been this country before.
Oh, so where did you went in here in the Philippines?
I heard some sensory movies about Philippines. A very beautiful country.
Oh, I see. That's good to hear, Andy. So, if you don't mind, Andy, may I ask you, how old are you?
About 33. Yeah.
Oh, all right. I see. Thank you so much for that, Andy.
Hmm.
So, for today's session, I am expecting three students from this
Hmm.
class since this is a group class. So, you're the only one member here. If it's okay with you, let's wait for the other member, and they are Annie and Febby. Is it fine?
Okay.
Yes. So maybe if the time will start at 3 minutes, so we should start the class. Okay, Andy?
Okay. No problem.
Yes. So I already reviewed the lesson. So the lesson is all about real estate. Andy, let me ask you, do you have a job?
No, I have no charge. I just married in last
Ah.
year. Yes,
Oh, congratulations for that, Andy.
thank you.
Yes. So it's a very good start for you, Andy, to learn this lesson. So I could really say that you have chosen the best lesson. So yeah, it's almost 3 minutes of our time, and they're not here. So Andy, shall we start the session?
Okay.
Right. Maybe at the middle of our session they will show up. Or maybe they're still sleeping because it's so
Yeah.
early in the morning. So
Yeah.
yes,
But,
let's mhm.
I think because it's so early, so my class missed the class.
Yeah, so let's not wait for them any longer. Let's start the class now. Andy, kindly look at the picture, please, and tell me what do you see?
I see a lot of tall buildings in the picture. Maybe it's in I'm not sure uh what's the city in the
Mm-hmm.
picture. Hmm.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Andy. Now, can you please read our title?
Okay, real estate investment,
Mm.
pros and cons of high-rise apartments.
I see. So we're going to talk about pros and cons of high-rise apartments. Thank you so much for that, Andy. Now, let's have here our learning objective. So, of course, Andy, in this lesson, we're going to learn about the pros and cons of living in a high rise apartment, and we will discuss where we would like to live. And lastly, we will practice giving advice regarding living spaces to others. So, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Alright. So let's have a warm up questions first. Andy, do you currently live in a house or an apartment?
I live in an apartment in a tall building. It's
Oh.
about uh, 23 floors high. I live in the
Oh.
middle. I live in the 11th floor.
Oh, I see. That's a very, very tall building. So, yes,
Mhm.
you live in an apartment. So, for number two, Andy, name one advantage and one disadvantage about the place you live in.
The advantage is I can see the beautiful view from my apartment. Yes, because I live in 11 floors, so I can see a lot of views from my
Ah,
apartment. Mhm. Mm,
exactly.
but
What about the
the
disadvantage? Uh huh.
disadvantage is because this building is too high, so but in this building they just have three elevator. So in every morning when I want to take an elevator, so I must wait about 5 or 6 minutes. Mm,
Mm. So
yes,
you said the elevator is not enough
yes,
for the big
yes.
building, right?
Elevator is not enough, and just that because almost in every morning I must wait for a long time because so many people to take an elevator to go to work.
Exactly. All right, thank you so much for that, Andy. So before we will continue, let us acknowledge our other member, and that's Annie and Fabi. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for showing up in the session. So, how do you say your name? Is that Annie?
Yes,
Oh,
Annie.
I see. Yes. Hello, Amy. And what about you? Is that Fabi? Fabi or Fuabi? Hello? Hello, Fabi. Can you hear us? Oh, Andy and Annie, can you hear Fabi?
No, I can't hear Fabi.
Maybe she's busy, or maybe. Oh, there's a message. Hold on, everybody. Oh, okay. Can you try to speak up, Fabi? Hello? All right. Hold on. Wait for a while, everybody. I will try to reach out. Fabi, is there a problem? Hello, Fabi. With your microphone? Maybe there's something wrong with Fabi's microphone. I can't hear her. What about you, Annie and Andy? Can you hear Fabi?
No,
Okay, I say no. All right. Uh-huh. So maybe Fabi is busy. Maybe she has something to do with her work. Now let's try to continue. All right, before we will go on, Annie, let me ask you, Annie, do you currently live in a house or an apartment?
You
Y-
there?
yes, Annie.
Um, I will find box.
Hi, Annie.
Hi, teacher. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Yes, I would like to ask you this question, Annie. Do you currently live in a house or an apartment?
I live in house.
Hello,
Yeah,
Oh,
I
hi,
live in house.
Fabi. Ah,
can you
hello,
hear me?
Fabi. Yeah, I can. I can now. Very good. So thank you. What about you? Can you hear me?
Yes.
I see. Thank you. All right. So let's go on with our discussion. So that's Andy. He lives in an apartment. For Annie, you live in a house, right? Okay. So what about you, Fabi? Do you currently live in a house or an apartment?
In a house.
Okay, in a house. Oh, yeah. So only Andy lives in an apartment. So for number two, I want to ask you, Annie, name one advantage and one disadvantage about living in a house.
Living in house. I think it's quiet and it's quiet and benefit to live because it's near the floor.
Ah,
Yeah,
I see. Now, what about the disadvantage of living in a house?
disadvantage.
Mm.
Oh, I don't think some disadvantage. I think it's good.
Ah, it's good. All right. So thank you for that, Annie. What about you, Fabi? You also live in a house, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
can you give me one advantage?
Uh, Big. I think a house bigger than apartment.
Okay, bigger than an apartment. Yes, thank you. Now, what about the disadvantage?
Disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I have no idea about this question.
Yeah, that's okay. Maybe you don't find any disadvantage in living in your
Yes.
house, right? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Fabi. Now, Andy, for the third question, Andy, if you had $1 million and could live anywhere in the world, so where would you choose to live?
If I have a lot of money, I think I will retire. Yes, and I want to choose live in a countryside because I love nature, so I can feed my dog and other animals.
Wow, what a very, very good dream. So yeah, if we could have $1 million, I would also love to stay at the countryside. It's very peaceful. The air is so fresh. So thank you for that, Andy. What about you, Annie? I would like to hear your opinion.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Nowadays I live in countryside and I have big house and dog and cat, fish.
Uh,
Yeah, but I
I
also want
see.
to. I have the big house near the ocean. When I retired, I can live there, and I can paradise through my window to see the ocean.
Oh, a very calm place for us to relax and be happy. So yeah, thank you so much for that, Annie. And what about you, Fabi?
Um, if I had $1 million, I would
Mm?
like to choose the uh beside the ocean,
Oh.
because I like the sea. But nowadays, I think I should be live in the city because I have two daughters.
Mm.
Yes, they should study in the school, the
Mm.
best school in our the best school. Maybe it is in the city, in
Oh.
the center of the city.
Yeah, exactly. Because $1 million is quite too much, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very good to hear that, Fabi. You're always minding the future of your little daughters. So it's good. It's good to know that. So Andy, Annie, and Fabi, thank you so much for all of your awesome responses. Alright, so now it's time to go on. Let's have here some vocabulary words first. So, Andy, can you please read the first word?
Okay, hustle and bustle, noise and activity.
Yes. So, Andy, you're living in an apartment, so it's in the heart of the city, right?
Yes.
So, is it noisy there, or there are so many activities that could distract you outside?
Yes. But I live in 11th floor, so in my floor, the hustle and bustle is slowly.
I see, I see. Because the building was too big, so you're at the middle of the building. So yeah,
Mhm.
I could really understand that. So next, Andy, please, skyline.
Skyline, a chic or partner made against the sky, especially by buildings.
Yes, all right. So if you can see a skyline, so actually it's a pattern that is made against the sky by the buildings. All right. So
Yeah.
can you see that in your building or in your city, Andy, a skyline?
Yes. Yes,
I
I can
see.
see the skyline. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Andy. Now for Annie, please, can you please read the next word?
Hazard,
Mm-hmm.
something that is dangerous and likely to cause damage.
Yes. So can you give me an example of a hazardous thing, Annie?
Something coronavirus is hazard.
Yes, sorry, I'm very sorry. Can you repeat it?
Mm, Coronavirus is a hazard in the world.
Exactly. Right. So, perfect example is the coronavirus, right? It's dangerous. It can likely to cause a damage in our lives. So, thank you. That's very good, Annie. Now, please read the next word, Annie. Evacuate.
Uh, evac- Evacuate to move people from a dangerous place to somewhere safe.
Okay, so Annie, you're living in a house. Now, do you know some place where you can evacuate if there's a very extreme, like floods or maybe typhoon?
Mm, yeah, near the some city near the ocean will have the typhoon. The house is evacuated.
Oh, I see. So you will just stay in your house. It's a safe place for you.
Yes, in my
Oh,
house is safety.
oh, okay. I see. I see. That's great to know. Now, next we have here Fabi.
Uh, Ventilation,
All
the
right.
movement of fresh air around a closed space, or the system that does this.
Yes. So, do you love a ventilated area, Fabi?
No, I like the nature air.
Ah, of course. So yes, because you love it. Maybe let's say, for example, you have an office inside a building.
Yeah.
So, do
Mhm.
you like it to have a ventilated air?
Um,
Because yeah, we're
Depends
talking.
on the situation.
Ah,
Because I live in the small city,
oh, okay.
not big city, so
Mm.
we don't use the ventilation.
Yes, because very good. Yeah, thank you, Fabi, because it says here that ventilation is the movement of fresh air around a closed space. All right, so it means
Mhm.
something that the system does this. All right, now Fabi, next.
Outweigh to be greater or more important than something else.
Yes, Fabi, do you have a job right now?
Yes,
I
I
see.
have. Yeah, I do.
So, yeah, thank you. So, where were you in a situation where you outweigh your colleague, your workmates?
Mm, Sometimes.
Hmm. Okay. Can you give us some situation?
Uh, for example, uh, I don't know
It's
how to say.
okay. It's okay. Let's say about the position.
um, what does mean about position?
Yeah, let's say you have a very high position in a company. Rather
Just so. Mm-hmm.
I see, I see. Okay. So I got your point, Fabi. Thank you so much, everybody. Annie, and Fabi, do you have a question about our vocabulary words?
No.
No.
Okay, no. So thank you once again. Now let's move on. And let's try to practice. Let's see if you really understand the words. Read the sentences and then replace the highlighted words with the vocabulary words or phrases you just learned. Now, remember there is one extra word. Now, for number one, Andy, let's start with you.
Okay. We need to move everyone out of the city. So we can use evacuate to instead the word move.
Exactly. So the answer here is evacuate. Let me type that. Evacuate. Good job, Andy. Thank you so much. Now, what about number two? Annie?
Okay, I forgot about all the noise in the city. All the noise. Sky, skyline. I forgot about.
Is
Uh,
it the skyline for number two? All right. So yes, I forgot about all the noise in the city. So the answer is very good. That's skyline. All right.
yeah.
Okay. Skyline.
Hustle and
Oh
bustle.
yeah. I'm very very sorry. Can you repeat your answer, Annie? The word here is noise. Noise.
Mm, noise is house, house,
Yes,
house,
hustle and
and bustle.
great. So thank you. So remember the meaning of hustle and bustle. That's noise and activity. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So next for number three, Fabi.
Be careful where you work. There are many dangerous things. Dangerous things.
Yeah.
Change to hazard.
Exactly. The answer here is
Hazard.
hazard. Thank you so much. So let's go back to you, Andy, for number four.
Okay.
Hazards or hazard?
Yes, hazard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
the benefits of eating healthy are greater than exercising and outweigh.
Okay, the answer here is outweighed. All right, very good. So it means if it's greater than something, so the term here is outweigh. Now, Annie, for number five.
Okay. The movement of the air in this office building is horrible. The air is always still stifle. That is skyline.
Okay, for number five, the movement of the air in this office building is horrible. The air is always stuffy. Is it skyline?
Yeah.
Mm,
Ventilation.
Okay, so thank you for helping Fabi. So actually, Annie, the answer here is ventilation because when we say skyline, it's a shape or pattern made against the sky. But yeah, for number five, it talks about the movement of the air. So probably it's this one. Can you read that, Annie?
Okay. The
Ventilation. Can you say it?
ventilation.
Yes.
Ventilation.
Yes, that's the answer for number five because when we say movement of the air, so it talks about ventilation. Did you get it, Andy, Annie, and Fabi?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much, everybody. Now let's try to go on and let's learn about the pros. Okay, so can you please read the whole paragraph, Andy?
Okay. There are many benefits to living in a high-rise apartment. As long as you do not have a fear of heights. Here comes the first major pro for you. High-rise apartments offer marvelous view of the city you live in. In fact, once you ascend about 55 floors or higher, you are able to experience urban skyline view in a much more dramatic way. Of course, when you are so high up, this means you have fewer neighbors above you, and you are further away from the hustle and bustle of the city. Therefore, it is much more quiet and sensory.
Yes, of course. Very good. So, very good. The first pros in living in a high rise apartment is that you can really see a very good view, right? Just like I remember, that's the first advantage that you have told in the class, Andy, because you
Yeah,
live in an 11th floor of a building, right?
yeah,
So you said the advantage is that you can really see the beautiful view
Mm-hmm.
from the surroundings. So it's correct. Now, actually,
Yeah.
we have here some highlighted words. So let's see if Annie can still remember what is the skyline. Annie? Okay, Annie is maybe she's busy. Okay, can you help her, Fabi? Do you still remember what is the skyline?
The outline of buildings.
Okay, the outline of a building. All right. Very good. Thank you so much. Or, yeah, to recall its definition, it means a shape or pattern made against the sky, especially
Mhm.
by buildings. Thank you. Now, we also have here hustle and bustle. So, what does it mean again, Fabi?
Uh, Noise.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Noisy, noise or noisy and activity, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, activity outside, maybe the crowded place in the street, like there are so many cars and alike. So that's hustle and bustle. So
maybe
yeah.
some many people talk with or communicate with each other.
Exactly. So right. So we have here a question. Hello, Annie, can you hear us now? Maybe Annie is busy. All right. I think she's traveling because I heard an engine. So let's have here Fabi. Do you like urban skyline views or natural sceneries?
Um, Both of them.
I see no need to choose. Why not choose the both of them? Right? Why? Why?
Because when I was born and now I live in a small city. We don't have a um we don't have a very high building.
Mm.
So if I want to if I want to see the beautiful urban sky views, I will have a travel to the big city. So
Oh.
I think it is very interesting for me.
Ah.
Yeah,
I see.
and for the natural sceneries,
Mm.
nowadays I'm so many people live in the city. We don't
Yeah,
have the beautiful nature sceneries.
exactly.
If we want to enjoy these sceneries, uh, we would like to go to the countryside on weekend.
Ah, yes, exactly. Because you can't enjoy the natural sceneries in a city. There are
Yeah,
lots of establishments, stores, and small buildings, so no room for natural sceneries. Okay.
yeah.
So for Andy, I know Andy lives in an apartment, so maybe Andy, you lives in a big city, right?
Yes.
I see. So which one do you like, the urban skyline views or the natural sceneries?
Oh, just as I said, I want to live in countryside, so I like natural sensories.
I
Maybe
see. Uh-huh.
yes, maybe I think maybe some people live in a big city, in quarter city, or they want to live in countryside like a natural sensory. But just a classmate said, she live
Yeah.
in a small city, so she want to
Uh,
live in big city. I think it's depend on different people, and they are different. Depends on different situation. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. All right. So thank you so much, Andy, Fabi, and also Annie. Do you have a question about our first pros?
No, teacher.
All right, I will just make it clear to you. Our first pros is that living if you're going to live in a high-rise apartment, you can enjoy the beautiful view. All right, so that's
Yeah.
for the first pros. So since you don't have a question, let's go on to another pros. Now, Annie, can you hear us now? Still no response from Amy. So let me call you Fabi to please read. Hold on, hold on. Amy is replying. Okay. Annie, are you busy? If you're busy, it's fine with us. You can just listen to the discussion. Can you? Okay. Open. Okay. Hello, Annie.
Yes, hello, teacher.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Thank you. Can you hear us now?
Okay, yes.
Yeah, okay. Let me ask you instead of Febby, can you please read the whole paragraph?
Okay. Another major pro of high-rise apartments is more natural sunlight and ventilation. You could get more light and fresh air, as they won't be easily blocked by other buildings. Apartments on the upper floor are also considered much safer as far as breaks ins go. If a criminal breaks into an apartment building, they are more likely to break into the lower level apartments, not the ones on the top floor. So you can feel much more comforted by that fact, especially if you have many valuable items or small children to keep safe.
Thank you so much, Annie. So before we will discuss this, can you please read this term items?
Items.
Yeah, thank you so much, Annie. So always remember, everybody, that our second or our major pros is that we can enjoy the natural sunlight and ventilation if we will live in a high-rise apartments. So, Andy, we have here a question. Have you ever experienced a break-in before?
No, I haven't
Mm.
experienced.
Okay, 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 I see. So, what do you think is the best way to protect against a break-in?
I think at first we should try. We should choose uh, uh, we should try first we should try the location about
Mm.
our living. Yeah,
Mm.
I mean the location is very important. Um,
Exactly.
yes, and the second we should block the door and pay attention to the safety around us. We must have the uh, uh, we must focus on our safety by ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much. So, Annie, we have here our highlighted word, and that's ventilation. Can you still recall the meaning of ventilation?
Ventilation. It's really benefit and confidence.
Yeah, so
Comfortable.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Annie. So, yeah, if we were going to recall the definition of it, so it talks about the movement of fresh air, right, Annie?
Yes.
Okay, so it's the movement of fresh air. Now, for Febby again, have you experienced a break in before?
No.
No. All right. Thank you so much. So I guess Andy already explained the things or the best way to protect yourself against a break-in. Of course, you need to focus and yeah, give attention on staying safe. Lock the door and always secure the place. All right. So do you have a question about our second major pros?
No, teacher.
Okay. What about the other, Annie and Febby?
Now, teacher.
No. Okay. So thank you so much. Now it's time to go on. Let's have here the cons. So if we have pros, we also have cons. So cons is the negative impact of living in a high-rise apartment. So let's try to learn about it, Febby.
Okay, of course, not everything is perfect when living in a high rise apartment. There are also some cons to this prestige, how to say these words?
Prestigious.
Prestigious
Mhm.
lifestyle. The first on everyone's mind is probably the cost. The higher you go, the more expensive they become. This is mainly due to all the pros we just discussed. If you want an apartment on the upper floors, then you must be able to commit to the price. There are other downfalls as well, though. In regards to safety, there are other considerations to make. Even though it is safer from break-ins, high-rise apartments are more risky when it comes to other hazards such as fires or earthquakes. When you are high up, it takes much longer to evacuate the building.
Exactly. All right. So thank you so much. So to make it clear to you, Febby, the term prestigious here talks about like a fancy lifestyle. Okay, do you get it, Febby?
The meaning?
Yes, a fancy
Yeah,
lifestyle. Okay.
yeah.
So yes. Now again, if we have the pros, we also have the cons. Of course, the first thing is that the cost of it. We can't deny the cost of living in a high-rise apartment. Now, Andy, since you live in a big city and in an apartment, so what can you say about the cost, Andy?
Sorry, pardon,
Yeah.
teacher.
Yes.
So what? Uh-huh.
Do you want me to repeat?
Uh-huh.
Yes, Andy, my question is, since
Uh-huh.
you're living in a big city and you live in I mean in apartment, what can you say about its cost?
Okay, cost. I didn't agree. This passage said in my country, even you live in the upper floor or high rise floor, the price will less than will less than lower one.
Oh, I see.
Yes. Hmm.
So maybe, yeah, maybe that thing is it's quite different for the other because, um, for the other city, if you're living on a very high, I mean, in the high room or yeah, in a highest floor, it says in the text that it's way more expensive than the lower, right?
Hmm.
But
Right.
yeah, in your end, if you're living on a very high floor, it will lower its cost is lower than on the lower ground, right?
Yeah, right. Yes, and I think some people, most of the people didn't like live too high. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course. If you're going to relax, it's quite too long for you to get over to your room. Yeah,
Yeah,
you need to wait for the other to because you said that the elevator is not enough, right? You need to wait for
yeah.
a minute. So yes, that's it. Now, Annie, I would like to ask you a question. What other safety risk do you think there are with high risk apartments?
Mm, mm, I think it's not high, not low. It's medium risk apartment is better. Medium.
Okay, apartment is better. Of course, remember it's free or it's safer from break-ins, right? But yeah, we can't deny that there are some hazards like fires or earthquakes, and high-rise apartments are very I mean they are very prone to the earthquakes. If it will shake, it it can cause you fear, right, Andy? But you haven't experienced this before, Andy, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I hope it would not really happen because um, we should also take into account the lives of all the people who's in the building. So as much as possible, we don't want to have a fire inside a building. So do you
Hmm.
have a question about our first cons?
No, teacher.
No. Thank
No.
you so much, everybody. Yes, thank you, Fabi and Annie and Andy. Now, another cons. Can you please read it again, Andy?
Okay. Another conscious is the actual height of the apartment. When you live so high up, you are more and more dependent on the elevators to reach your home. You run the risk of not being able to get home or leave your home in the case of a blackout. This can be especially inconvenient if you are trying to move in or out of your apartment. You will absolutely need to take the elevator as well as make sure there is enough space in the elevator to move all of your belongings. Since taking the stairs is not an option, one more hazard to be aware of is the wind. If you want to put something like plants out on your balcony, then make sure they are heavy enough to not get blown away by the wind.
Exactly. All right, because yeah, it's actually true. I really like this lesson because
Yes.
the next cons is that if you're in the highest floor, it means you're too dependent on elevators. You would not
Mm.
like to walk on stairs.
Yeah.
It will make you feel so tired, right? Especially like you, Andy. Would you rather walk on the stairs or get through with the elevator?
Yes. Sometimes I uh, I like walk to the floor because I think this is I saw them like exercise my body.
Oh, exactly, exactly. But yeah, let's say for example, you're on the 30th floor of the building. Would you rather walk on stairs?
No, no, no.
Of course not. And yeah, also if you're on the highest part of the building, of course the wind is very strong. If you like to put some flowers or any designs on your balcony, make sure they're heavy enough to not get blown away by the wind. All right, everybody, Annie and Fabi?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Fabi, I would like to ask you, have you ever tried moving in or out of a high-rise apartment? Oh, I think not. Fabi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Have you tried this?
Moving or out of high-rise apartment.
Mm.
Um, no, I haven't.
Ah, I see. Because you live in a house, right?
Yeah.
This question is quite good for Andy.
Yes.
So what was the experience like, Andy?
Mm, not too much. Not I was satisfied the lifestyle, so I have no opinion about this.
Ah, all right, all right. What about you, Annie? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Yes, have you tried moving in or out of a high-rise apartment, Annie?
No.
Ah, yeah. Yes, I see because both Annie and Febby lives in a house. So, thank you so much for all of your responses. Do you have a question?
No, teacher.
No.
No, thank you, thank you. Let's go on and let's have a short discussion. Now, Annie, let's have here the first question. Do you think the pros outweigh the cons when it comes to living in a high-rise apartment?
Hmm. Uh, Oh, yes, I think that is pros of living in a high-rise apartment.
Mhm. Why do you say so, Annie?
Because I think living in a high-rise apartment, uh, uh, you can see the more view and high-rise apartment is it's quite more than low-rise apartment.
Mm, exactly. All right. Thank you so much for that response, Annie. That's a very good idea. Now, for Andy number two, what are some other pros and cons that we missed that you can think of?
Mm, I'm not sure because I said I live in the department so long time. I was satisfied by the lifestyle.
Uh,
So I think just as that it's depends on different people. They live the different situation. So I think there are just everything has two sides. One side has pros and has cons. So
yeah,
um,
exactly. So, you think all of the pros and cons are enough, right?
yes,
Okay, thank you, Andy. Now for
I think
Fabi. Uh huh.
it's a part of our life. Yes,
Oh, yes,
pros
thank.
and cons. Yeah.
Yes, of course. So for Fabi, would you like to live in an upper floor apartment?
Just apartment. I think it is apartment. It is smaller than house.
I see. So you don't like?
Yeah, but I like upper floor
Oh.
house, not apartment.
So you like a great and big space for you.
But I think it is very important, very expensive.
Yeah, I think too. So, right, so we're done with the discussion part. Now, let's try to do a role play, everybody. Now, this role play involved two participants. So, I would like to ask you, Andy, you will be person A. You're trying to decide if living in a high rise apartment is best for you or if you should live somewhere else. Now, you are meeting a real estate agent to get more information. Now, for
Mm-hmm.
Fabi, you will be person B. Now, you are a real estate agent with some high rise apartments to sell or to rent out. Now, you're trying to convince Andy, person A, that an apartment on the high rise is the best option. Now, try to use the word that you learned from this lesson to form a conversation. What do you think, Fabi? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get started, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, Andy. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Happy.
I would like to introduce something about the high-rise apartments to you.
Okay. Tell
Uh,
me about something about the apartment.
okay. If you live in this apartment, you can have the uh, safety situation with you, with your family, and you can enjoy the beautiful scenery and urban skyline in the city.
Mhm. But I think maybe I will face some hazard things, such as fire or earthquake when this thing happens. Oh, I think I will not evacuate quickly. So,
Uh,
mhm.
mhm. I think the hazard situation maybe it is depends on the different situations. We can care for it.
Mhm. And I think this this apartment will cost a lot of money. So What can you give me some suggestion?
Yes. The higher departments. Sorry, the higher apartments. Maybe we should pay for much money. But I think it is depends on the environment. I would like to discuss uh, with the how to say a landlord to discuss this price. Maybe maybe he can how to say I don't know. He can give you the lower price.
Mm.
Okay, and I think I will discuss with my wife because she is the boss in my family.
Yes. Okay, no
Exactly.
problem.
Okay, so thank you so much, Andy and Febby. All right. So, Annie, did you enjoy listening to their very good conversation?
Yes, I'm enjoying.
Yeah, me too. I did love at the end of the conversation because Andy said that he needs to discuss it first with his wife because his wife is the boss. Okay. Thank you, everybody. You did an awesome job. So let's go on to the summary part. In this lesson, we learn about some good things and bad things, or the pros and cons about living in a high-rise apartment. And of course, we were able to talk about your own thoughts about living high in the sky. And lastly, we were able to practice giving advice about where to live. Okay, that is the conversation between Andy and Fabi. So everybody, we're done with our session. Do you have a questions?
Now, teacher, thank you.
No,
Okay.
no, thank you.
You're welcome. Actually, we are over time, but yeah, I really tried my best to cover all the lesson. I hope you learned a lot, and thank you so much for choosing me to be your teacher today. And please don't forget to leave your feedback, and then see you next time, everybody. Have a great morning.
Thank
Bye,
you so
teacher.
much. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye.